Quiero Decirte, it's a heavy, reflective song. The type that makes you stop and think about the decisions that we made. It's moments in our life that defined us. It's how we, through unconditional love, make decisions. And here's how Sen Senra gives us this moment. This song, it's really about self-reflection, told through the lens of unconditional love. And it lands because these moments, the moments, are the ones that define our character. Dame un día o dos para ordenarme las palabras. This is the opening to the song. It is already making us understand that what is being said has a huge emotional weight to it. This needs extra attention, not because we don't care, but because the gravity of the situation requires us to really sit back, reflect, ingest, and process. It's taking extra time because we need to be extra careful. We're not choosing to ignore it. That day or two is the tax, the emotional tax, the emotional cost of being honest, of being critical, of just trying to find the right words that describe the moment without diminishing it. Hace tiempo que no permitía desnudarme el alma, y ahora que puedo agarrar por el cuello la guitarra. The lyric itself, it's an emotional indication that we are emotionally vulnerable, and we have gone through a metamorphosis of emotional change. We are, in one image, recovering. This could easily be meant that we're going back to our hobbies that once brought us joy. When we avoid hobbies or anything that brings us pain, it's because simply doing things that bring us pleasure can at times be impossible to enjoy. So therefore, this guitar is not just an instrument. It's a sign of reconnection with oneself. Emotionally, we are back to where we're supposed to be. After reflecting, the artist, the person, ourselves, we come to a decision, the emotional conclusion, support without control, the clarity of the situation. I would go with you, but if our paths change, I won't hold you back. I'm choosing to stand for you and not for the end result. The realization when we sit down and ingest information that our paths could ultimately come at a crossroad, and is at that moment that we decide, do we continue going on this route or do we go on that route? That is the final judgment, that regardless of what happens, I will always support you. This song is filled with a lot of emotional symbolism, and all the symbolism is just meant to depict the amount of time that has actually been processed. And nací otro día y con la bici en el campo brings the individual to the fields where there is no temptation, where there's no human material persuasion. It is just the body, the breath, and the free movements of the spirit of man. And this is later reiterized, reinforced by a la raíz de tu vientre. This is really the deep connection. He is saying that the bond is not surface, it is rooted. This bond is more of a interception, that everything is coming to a conclusion, that I have made this realization that things are going to be okay. This is speaking from self-acceptance of the current moment and hopes for the future. Throughout the whole production, builds up to that realization that everything's going to be okay. At first, the production starts slow, has a very slow melody But as the song continues, it begins to get a little bit upbeat. It begins to give us that emotional hope for the future. Going from a timid, emotional vulnerability to being in a position of showing you my weakness, showing you my concerns, but also showing you that I'm willing to be there for you. This rhythmic beat towards the end is showing us the confidence of the result. It is very easy to interpret different meanings. This 2 days that we took to think about situation doesn't necessarily mean that has to be in a relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is conflict. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's adversity with an external party. It could be the adversities that we're facing with ourselves. It could be the challenges that we go through on a daily basis. Because life is hard. Sometimes we don't find pleasure in the things that we do. And it takes us a long time, even moments, to realize that we're losing ourselves. And it's at that moment we need to really reflect. Do we want to go this route, or do we want to go this route? It could be a story of self-improvement, or it could be a story of self-decline. Whether or where our journeys take us, it is a point that we are not oblivious to. It is a point where we are, in essence, could to some degree identify those moments. And that's why I understand that a song brings emotional stress that affects us. We are forcing our struggles onto the song. That's why we could hear it in a different manner. Relationship, circumstances, or even self-motivation or interpretation. This song fits all those criteria. That's why it hits later. It's because we are forced to introspect ourselves. The moment that we realize and accept the decisions we make. It's the sun that hits our face right after rain, and it's the rain during the drought. It's emotional clarity. It's acceptance of the moment, regardless of where we go. And that's why it hits later.